like there were forums, there was like people wrote their own sexy stories, they published online. So for instance, one time I was Googling the name of a tree. I was Googling the golden shower tree.
Golden shower.
Hi everyone, welcome to Let's Talk About Sex, a new podcast series where Hillary and I take over the Lokalfeed feed.
Everyone.
And we hope that in the episodes to come we'll get to talk about sex, pleasure, sexual health.
Much more, definitely. It's not just sex.
Okay, so things like relationships, intimacy, lots of things. Everything.
I think our listener here, our viewers will be very curious why are the both of us here doing this Let's Talk About Sex. So maybe Natalie, you can share first?
Why do I have to go first? Okay. So I come from a few different subcultures where talking about sex is, or talking in general, communication is important and it's prominent in how we function. So I'm queer, I'm kinky, and I'm polyamorous, and in all these communities, communication plays a big role, and we're always like talking about talking. So talking goes there's a lot. But something that I've noticed is that in my reading about these communities and these subcultures in other countries, there were a lot of informational exchanges like events, workshops, zines, mailing lists. Whereas in Singapore, there are fewer of those things. But we see that more people are interested in being open about sex and relationships, and especially on social media with like the youth. I'm not a youth anymore, but I would love to be part of this conversation, and that is why I'm here.
Okay, for me, right? First thing first, simple. I'm a very simple person. It's because I love talking about sex. Simply love all about talk. And of course, I'm very happy to have you here, Natalie, with me, that you also someone who loves to talk about sex. That is why we have this podcast here. Interesting, right? But of course, the main thing for me to want to go into this topic is because I realized that, me and my friends on a personal, very private area, I am always the one who actually leads and, direct them to talk about sex. For me personally, I feel that it's okay to talk, you see. But then again, given that we are Asians, right? And also specifically in Singapore, I feel that there's a lot of women they have issues with in their relationship. And maybe 80% of them, in my circles of friends, from my understanding, 80% is due to sex related. They are sex life related or sex pleasure seeking related. So which is why I really hope that maybe we can use this topic to reach out to maybe someone there who also might want to listen or want to share, but at the same time don't know where to go to or who can they talk to, right? Yeah, so that's it. That's why we are here doing this series.
And something I also want to say is, I think that even if, for instance, if you're talking about relationship issues, something that might manifest in your sex life, it can be like, let's say you're not communicating very well in day-to-day life, then that will affect your sexual relationship as well. So it's sort of like a shadow of what else is happening in your life, right? It might be personal, it might be interpersonal. Yeah, so I guess sex for me is a very interesting way to talk about what we are thinking about, human psychology, how we relate to each other as a couple or as a society.
Yeah, like actually, that time we actually we talk about like even having orgasm and all this kind of thing. It's actually a very healthy, it brings health benefit. But then again, a lot of people don't really talk about it. They find that if I were to talk to anyone about sex, my sex life with my partner, it seems like very obscene, it's not right. And then again, also their community, their circles of friends, how many of them, like maybe for yourself, I don't know, how much of your friends actually are comfortable talking about this thing. So you see, it reminds me of that time you actually asked me about one question that how do I have the source of knowledge about sex during younger days, right? So it got me thinking that, what the hell, during my generation, we don't have all this kind of technology.
As in, you mean like the internet?
Yeah, the internet. We don't even have, maybe at the later part in my 20s, something like that, we have all the, the X-series, X-rated CD-ROM and all these things. But way before, during my primary school days and during my secondary school days, I didn't really go and read any Playboy magazine. But how come I have all this sex scene and imagination inside me, right? So it really get me thinking, how do I have all this info? And that time we don't have all these things, like I said. So I start to think, where do I get all the sex information or anything that caused me, sometimes we even, at a younger age, to be honest, we also have a little bit of desire.
Like fantasies?
Yeah. So until today, I really still cannot find out the exact answer.
I thought you were going to reveal your answer.
No, but then again, like earlier on, we kind of share a bit, right? Then you direct me into like, maybe it's the drama, the television drama series that we watch. But normally that one is not so X-rated, right? It's only kissing. I think the kissing part leads me to a lot of things already. Then I start to imagine from kissing to touching to what, right? So there's also another reason why I think that this podcast is very good, because last time we don't have all these things. We cannot get to listen or get to watch this kind of sex talk information.
I guess when I was younger, there was the internet, and like around, I think 8 or 9, I had a computer and access to the internet. So there was more open to me. Like I didn't have to go to the library to find the books and stuff like that.
But library have, meh? Library got sex book, meh?
Okay, so
which one I will go already.
So I think that there are books like novels, fiction, that will have sex scenes, and those are probably available to borrow in the adult section of the library, which if you were a kid, you can also go to that section. It's just a matter of whether you happen to find the correct book, right?
Oh, okay.
But that's not really how I learned about the world of sex so much. Like there were some novels, then I would just like go and suddenly stumble upon the sex scenes. Then I read. Wow, very interesting, very interesting. But actually, because I had access to the internet, a lot of my like childhood exposure to sex was online lah. So like there was porn, which was a whole thing, and I would just be like, wow, people are into that. Like,
last time don't have.
That's what it looks like.
Right? Last time they don't block out one, right? That's why you get all these kind of advertisement kind of thing,
I don't know what the censorship was like, but yes, there was a lot of porn. There's a lot more porn that I accidentally came across. So I didn't look for it.
I think a lot of guys will love that accidentally came upon.
Okay, that's probably why it was profitable. But so there was porn. There was like there were forums. There was like people wrote their own sexy stories. They published online. So for instance, one time I was Googling the name of a tree. I was Googling the golden shower tree.
Golden shower! No wonder!
And like one of the first results was...
What's that tree, golden shower? Oh my god!
One of the first results was a sexy story written, it was very poorly written, about a golden shower fantasy lah, basically. And I didn't know what the term golden shower meant. But on that day, I learned something new. I learned that people were into this thing for informational purposes. In case you don't feel like Googling it, golden shower is one term for water sports or like piss play.
I'm going to Google later.
Okay, so it's a fetish that some people have where they involve pee basically in their sex life.
Yeah, do that.
And
how they even achieve that? I don't understand.
I mean, okay, let's not go into it now.
I'm curious
where you're now. And I'm not an expert in this area of fetish, but like it definitely opened my mind to the idea that people were into weird things. And like now that I am a kinky adult, I can find out more information about this. And I'm actually exposed to people who do play with these things. And I guess I'm glad that I stumbled upon it as a young user of the internet, because from then I realized that there are some things that I'm not exposed to in popular media, in like movies or TV, that people do, explore. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But that's really interesting, the golden shower thing. Because at my point, the first thing when I get to really see, I think it's porn already. I didn't read. The reading is the later part because I'm not good in reading during my younger days. But just now you mentioned the novels, all this kind of thing. I kind of recall there was a moment of time I read a lot, but it was always the sex book, and then you start to have a lot of imagination. Then I find that reading is actually better than watching porn because it's up to your own imagination.
What was the reaction from your friends or maybe from your partners when you told them that you were gonna do this podcast series?
Okay, like I share, right? My friends, my close friends, normally they are aware that I'm actually a very open person, and I'm always the one that lead them into this conversation, this topic. So it's like pretty. I don't think they find it very hard to accept that I'm talking about this topic. But when I say I'm going to do a podcast series about let's talk about sex, and it means reach out to the public. They're like, what the like you are you seriously going into this thing? Then my answer was like, why not? I mean, when we talk about it, we do help each other in a way. When talk about sex with your girlfriends and all this type of things, sometimes it really benefits a lot because when you're facing difficulties, you're facing certain issue in a relationship or what, you cannot talk to your partner sometimes. Then you cannot talk to your parents, your siblings, all this kind of thing. So when we have a talk about it, and it really helps, like moving forward, they will have a better way of like maybe some techniques or maybe some advice from us. I mean, I'm not expert here, but we give each other our point of view, our opinion, then to try to implement it into our relationship. So I think, that's how. No judgment, nothing yet. And as for my partner, right, very cool about it because if I'm happy, I think that's most important to him. Then you'll be happy also. So, my partner is very cool. So no issue at all.
Okay,
How about yourself? Like,
so I don't think any of my friends would be surprised that I am interested in talking about it. Because yes, like you, I tend to be the initiator of conversations around sex and relationship stuff.
That's why we are here together.
Yeah, that's why the two of us blabbermouths were invited to do this, right? I think I was a little surprised. I asked my partners. I said, okay, I'm going to do this podcast series and I'll probably talk about my sex life and, some of my experiences. Is there anything that I should not talk about or I should avoid or I should just not mention at all? And the responses that I got were just, no, it's fine, just go ahead. And I guess I was pleasantly surprised because I expected that there might be some things that they might want to keep to themselves or they don't want to hear me talk about them to the public.
Yeah.
But like what you said, I think they also saw the value of having open conversation, and I'm also not an expert, even though I really wish I was.
Moving forward.
But it's even though we are not experts, hearing somebody else's point of view can also be valuable, hopefully also interesting. So
yeah, because when somehow we are in a relationship, we only think at our point of view. We tend to lose, to see from other angles. So then we think that we even self-blame. In a relationship, sometimes when we fought, right? If the sex life is not good or what, example, am I not good enough for him or is he not good enough for me? But then again, it's because maybe somehow rather the couple fail to communicate, fail to speak up their expectation be it in relationship, in all areas or even in bed, in their sex life. So which is why I think these are the things are going to be, I hope that it's going to be a very normal conversation, very normal to everyone out there, between couples or friends. Of course, we won't be going around telling people, hey, let's just, talk about sex or this kind of thing, right? But it should be a topic that we shouldn't be too embarrassed of.
Yeah.
Because you are keeping everything to yourself. So how to improve, right? Of course, until today, I bet the only thing that we cannot talk about this topic too is our parents. I mean, my parents, I can say that they are quite open, to be honest. They are quite open. But you just don't know how to open up and tell them, I got this issue, blah, 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 blah. Even my mom, right? But I do believe if I were to talk to her about this thing, she is perfectly, she will be able to accept. Yeah. So I think it's okay lah.
Yeah. And I think sort of like you said, it's not that we are going around and provoking people who don't want to talk. It's more that talking and communicating and being able to process things takes practice also, right? Like, it's not that we were born and then suddenly we were able to be open about our sex lives. It's not that. It's just that we have a lot of practice talking to other people in private and maybe in public. So we gained more confidence over time, finding the words to describe our feelings or experiences. And I really hope that people will see that it's possible to practice and get better at articulating how you feel, so that they can have better communication with each other.
Yeah, like what you said earlier on, that to gain confidence to slowly talk about all these things, right? It actually hits me that some time ago when I actually talk about this topic with some of my girlfriends, when I advise them it's okay to talk, they should be back this thing. Sometimes paiseh one man, you're not embarrassed. Like maybe people will think, why are you always talking about sex or even your toys and every kind of thing. Then it got me thinking, what's wrong with that? I mean, given at my age now, I've been through a lot of things, and all the more I strongly feel that it's okay to talk about it. You see, the first thing first, people don't talk about it is because they are so afraid of judgment, how people see them. You need to take that mindset away. We really need to take the mindset away. Be it today you're going to talk about it or not. But I think as a person, for well-being purpose, we need to learn to switch, sometimes change our mindset a little bit for our own well-being. So let's talk about sex. It's only just one key thing. But if you know how to not be, to live the way how people see you, want you to be, it's not just on this area already. It will actually let you grow in general in other areas as well. Be it at work or your relationship with your friends, your colleagues or what. I think it's also kind of related. It's connecting the dot in a way, I feel. Yeah,
so something that you said reminded me also that I think we project our own feelings onto this idea of what will other people think. So sometimes we are like, I want to say, but I don't think I should talk so much about my sex life so openly, because what if people think I'm obsessed with sex? And then if you actually were to share, right, nobody is going to tell you you're obsessed with sex, stop it. They'll just be like very interested in what you have to say, right? So that reaction is actually coming from inside. It's from, am I obsessed with sex? Like the insecurity, what is wrong with me? So I guess it's a process, right, of rooting out what kind of stigma is actually, messages that we are hearing, and what kind of stigma is stuff that we have, is our own stuff that we have imposed on ourselves.
I think that's why that it's all back to we are so afraid of how people see us, right? That's why no one wants to talk about it. But okay, thank God we are here today, and also we will definitely have more upcoming topic revolve around this Let's Talk About Sex, because I mean, to be honest, I do believe that we have a lot of things to touch on, be it sex with partners or a lot more other thing, interesting one that we go to share later. Alright, so having said that, thanks everyone for tuning in with us.
Do look out for our next episodes on all your major podcast platforms such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And you can find other local feed content on YouTube as well. Bye!
Bye!